back to my channel. Yes, it's Thursday, and happy Thanksgiving to all you out there that's celebrating or not. But let's start with greetings. While we get ahead of ourselves as usual. Hello, my name is Daniel. I'll be your host. Your
guy in the chair.
He said it. He said it.
And today we're going to watch the Kirk drinking his thoughts on Star Trek Unification. I'm not crying, you're crying. So, let's enjoy.
So, I think it's fair to say that Star Trek and I have long since gone our separate ways. We had a good run, but over the years, she became a different person to the one I fell in love with. Then she hit middle age and kind of lost her mind, became a hysterical, melodramatic activist, and even tried to reinvent herself as cool and modern so she could hang with the kids. Unfortunately, she alienated all of her old friends in the process, and the kids in question just thought she was creepy and cringe. All of this is to say that when a new Star Trek project gets announced, I tend to greet it with all the enthusiasm of a low-fat vegan breakfast. So when people started talking about a Star Trek short film with the baffling title of 765874 Unification, I didn't exactly rush to my computer to watch it. But the talk continued. I learned that William Shatner himself was reprising his role as Captain Kirk, and people I actually respect started urging me to take a look. So what the hell, I thought. It was only like 8 minutes long anyway, what harm could it do?
A few minutes later.
Good lord, I don't think I've gone through such an emotional roller coaster in years. Unification is one of those very special works of art that doesn't just tug at the heartstrings, it braids the fucking things into ropes for extra purchase. It's a work that condenses down everything that I used to love about Star Trek into a dreamlike 10-minute sequence of glorious visuals and perfectly balanced emotional impact, and conveys everything it needs to say and do without a single line of dialogue. The story could best be described as Kirk's final journey into the afterlife, right after his death at the end of Star Trek Generations. And don't even get me started on that fucking movie.
I hate this. It is revolting.
Anyway, a digitally de-aged William Shatner plays Kirk as he looked 30 years earlier, walking through a lush paradise where he encounters various people from his past, including Robin Curtis playing an older version of Saavik. I can't tell you how rewarding it was to see both the character and the actress back in Star Trek again after all these years, even if it's only for a brief appearance like this. I know she had the thankless task of taking over the role when Kirstie Alley wouldn't come back after Wrath of Khan, but I always thought she did the best she could with the material she had to work with, and I was disappointed that the character basically vanished from the series after Star Trek IV. Unification marks her long overdue return, and what a return it is. Oh yeah, and for those wondering, it finally picks up on a plot thread that's been left dangling for almost 40 years. It's pretty subtle, and it's conveyed entirely through facial expression and gesture, but wow, did they handle it well. Kirk's journey then becomes one of reflection on his own life as he encounters different versions of himself along the way. The young adventurer out to explore the galaxy, filled with wonder and youthful curiosity, coming face to face with the older, more experienced and reflective man that he'd one day become. And between them, our own version of Kirk watching as the two visions slowly fade away, leaving just himself. It's a poignant reflection on the fleeting nature of life and change as we grow older, that everything which seems so important and permanent at the time will one day be nothing but a memory. It's a reminder to make the most of the time that we have and the moments we get to experience, because they'll never come again. And all too soon, it's time for Kirk to move on once again. His final journey's coming to an end, and there's only one person left to make it with. His oldest friend, the man who shaped and defined so much of his life, who was there with him in his darkest moments, who inspired and encouraged him to be more than he was, to reach higher, to see further, to be a better man. Two old friends reunited one last time, sharing one final embrace that conveys more than words ever could, looking forward together to the greatest journey of them all. It would be no exaggeration to say that this moment contains more heart and soul, more meaning and emotion than anything I've seen from Star Trek in the past 20 years. Not the hysterical melodrama of Discovery, or the hollow action and chaos of the movies, or even the awkward fumbling for nostalgia in Picard's. This right here is what this show was always about. The human connection of friendship, powerful enough to transcend time, culture, race, and even death itself. The two men who made Star Trek what it is, whose portrayals will never be surpassed, with all of their history and the adventures they've shared, given one last moment together at the end of their journey. Unification does in 7 minutes and 35 seconds what so many hopeful and overconfident writers and filmmakers have failed to do in decades. It understands what made Star Trek so timelessly inspiring, and it shows you. The use of visual effects and digital de-aging to bring back old or deceased actors is always going to be a controversial one, and it's something I've wrestled with for a long time. On the one hand, you can end up with soulless, shameless exploitation like Ian Holmes' likeness in Romulus or Carrie Fisher in Rogue One. But Unification shows the untapped potential for this technology when it's done right, not as shallow spectacle that quickly becomes a crutch for bad writing, but as a tool of artistic expression to be used carefully and sensitively by talented and respectful filmmakers to make the impossible possible again. The fact that Shatner himself gave this film his blessing by performing in it, and absolutely crushing it by the way, shows how much faith he had in this project. I've always felt like he came to regret killing off his most iconic character, and probably would have been up for reprising the role if he'd been asked. But since Paramount seemed determined to appeal to a more modern audience and write him out of Star Trek history altogether, this is as close as we're ever likely to get to a return. And you know what? I couldn't think of a better send-off for James T. Kirk. It's one of the sad realities of life that the older you get, the more things you lose. And it's very much the same with entertainment, as beloved actors pass away and your favourite franchises get turned into, well, something very different. But every once in a while, life gives something back to remind you of what once was, even if it's only for 7 minutes and 35 seconds. And you know what? That's alright by me. Anyway, that's all I've got for today. Go away now.
I hope y'all enjoyed that we had to say about Star Trek Unification. It did have a come round, but still, like, comment, share, and don't go eating too much turkey and getting fat on me. Well, either way, bye guys, see you Monday.